Hi, this is Jenny Brav of Radiant Wholeness Healing. And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. And I'm just going to chat with you guys. And maybe I'll do a little meditation at the end. But I know that we talk a lot in the spiritual world about accepting what is, releasing and letting go of resistance, of the parts that are clinging, that are attached or hooked into things. And while we can feel sometimes that this is happening or that that might be a good thing, sometimes letting go is not as easy as one would think. And I know for me recently, for example, I've been in the middle of a flare up of my connective tissue disorder, and I've just had extreme pain in my right arm, elbow, hand, and shoulder. And then that's, as I've been compensating on the left, it's just caused pain on the left. And so while a large part of me has been really in the acceptance and the grace of it and really opening to the lessons, there's another part of me that has just not been enjoying being in pain and has been in resistance. And so this mnemonic and visual came up for me when I was talking to a client, and she was talking about this feeling of resisting. And then I just got this visual, and the little eye popped up in front of me. Sometimes this happens. I'm a very visual person. And it kind of became a big eye. And when it became a big eye, then the resist became rest. So today we're going to deep dive into that and into how the main difference between resisting what is and resting in it, with that extra S to slow us down so that we can stay a second longer in the solace of nowness, of that rest. How the difference is the little I. And the little I kind of see it as our disembodied head. What happens when our head is not attached to our body? This can happen when we're trying to manage and control things. Anybody who has a history of trauma and a pattern of dissociating, this is a pretty common pattern. But also as a society, we're very disembodied, very head driven. We tend to lead with our minds, and we're conditioned to do that. We're also, many of us, trained to actually dismiss and override and push through our intuition, our inner knowing, our limits, our boundaries, our bodies. So that's kind of what happens when we're in this disembodied head place. I also have other videos where I talk about this as the leaf of the tree trying to be the whole tree, disconnecting from the branch and the trunk and the roots, and wanting to manage and control the weather. I'll link those videos down below. So basically, we have this little disembodied head, our little I, which is ego, but it's really like fear driven, right? Ego gets a bad name, but it's what happens when our mind is operating out of fear, out of survival, fight or flight. So then it feels like it has to fight everything. That's the resist: fight ourselves, fight the world, be managing and controlling what our external circumstances, what might be coming to us, how others might perceive us. So then we're just in that place of resisting what is. Maybe we're in the future trying to make sure the future is different, or we're resisting the past, rewriting history to try to rewrite our present moment by changing what was, or wishing we'd done things differently, or going over conversations. So again, it's very past, future driven. When it's in the future, it's either a lot of planning, or it's scanning for danger, going into a lot of what ifs, scenarios, fear mongering. And so this is where the resistance is, and it resides either fully in the head, we're not even connected to our bodies, or we might just notice there's a lot of tension and bracing and holding and I know I always feel it in my neck and shoulders. And there's this sense of it's all on me. So our little disembodied head is also kind of feeling like, have to hold up the weight of that head, of the universe, of the world, of the thoughts. And it's a lot when we think our poor little heads are responsible for our well being and the universe and doing and success, and maybe even responsible for manifesting when we're one foot in the spiritual, but still trying to do it all through the mind. It's a lot. It's heavy. It's tiring. And no wonder there's a lot of resistance. And we might even be resisting the thinking and the doing in our minds. And so then we might have two parts of ourselves, two disembodied heads within our mind, going at each other. So it's just tiring talking about it. So the good news is we are not disembodied heads. We have our entire body, our heart, our intuition, our feet, and our connection to the wisdom that is much greater than we are. Both our higher selves, the wisdom of the natural world, of our ancestors, those who came before, of guides, if you access guides. And so what happens when we call the disembodied head, the mind, back into the fold? It's going to be hard for me to show this with my hands, but then we become the big I. And the big I has the platform on either end of it. So we are just that channel, the conduit in the center, especially if we keep our channels clear, and then we're grounded and connected to the earth at the bottom, and then we're connected to the mystery and the higher knowing, the spiritual, the celestial realms at the top. Ah. At least when I feel into the big I, there's just immediately that sigh of the big I not having to be the small I holding up the world on my shoulders. And so when I'm in that big I, and I'm just a spoke in the wheel of life, in the circle and the cycles of what is, the nowness. And as a spoke, I can just rest in experience, rest in the trust that things are happening as they're meant to be, rest in higher guidance, rest in the wisdom of the universe that is holding me and pointing me and dropping signs if I'm awake enough to listen and notice, and going slowly enough to do so. And so I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable. We're just going to slow down with this, deepen a little bit. And I invite you to notice that small I that is working so hard to keep you safe, to manage and control. And just noticing any emotions that are connected to that small I. It might be fear, frustration, anger, powerlessness, overwhelm from working so hard, sadness, a loneliness. Because when we're in the small I, we are in the separate self. Again, feeling like it's all on us and feeling what that flavor is for you. And just sending so much love and compassion for all the ways that the small I is working so hard to defend, to protect, to fight, to please others, to figure out what is expected of you, to try to fix. And the places it might be trying to flee, the places it freezes. This is all very survival, fear driven, lots of F's. And just inviting that head back down. You can do it physically, you can be just placing your hands on your head. Ah, in gratitude for all the hard work, also just soothing it. You might call your energy back with your hands from the thoughts that you've given your life force energy to, corralling your energy back down into your heart. You might be connecting your leaf that's trying to be the whole tree to the branch, to the trunk, your roots. And as the head reconnects to the rest of the body and remembers that it is not alone, that it is supported, starting with the rest of the body, with the heart, the intuition, with the bones, the spine, the whole lower body, our feet. And then feeling that connection to the earth, feeling the support of the earth that we walk on every single day, that provides us with the food that nourishes us, and the water and the trees that give us the oxygen we breathe, feeling that immensity of the earth's generosity and nourishing us. Oh, feeling how, when we're in the big I, all we need to be is just clean out the gunk in our channels, the fear, the thoughts, the limiting beliefs, the old wounds, coping strategies that served once but no longer serve us now. We're just cleaning that out. When our channels are clear, we get to be a conduit for a source, for wisdom, for intuition, for our inner sight, the vision. And all we need to do is ground down through our feet into the earth, feel that platform that supports the bottom of our big I, and then roots down beneath it. And then feel the support at our crown that opens us up into that higher wisdom, that upper platform that is not a ceiling, but a portal into higher knowing, deeper wisdom. And I invite you to rest here, to feel the freedom when we release all the efforting, when we reconnect the head to the rest of the body, when we let go of ego and fear and return to trust and rest in that place of grace, of trust, the solace of nowness, the slowing down of that extra S, of the breath, feeling that connection between the earth and our heart and our breath, and that extra B for beauty. And feeling how in this big I you are but a spoke in the universal wheel, and when we are no longer in the physical form that allows us to be that conduit of source in the manifest world, then we become part of the energy that fuels the outside of that wheel, that we can release the fear and the struggle and the resisting. Taking a few breaths here, opening to any wisdom that wants to come through from your own special inner knowing, from your guides. And when you're ready, slowly opening your eyes. And feeling how the visual fields can often pull us back into the small eye, especially when we're in the loop of judgment between brain and our eyesight. But we can also soften it so that it becomes a bridge, it's part of our big eye that connects those vast energies that we are here to be a mouthpiece of if we choose to. And I invite you to walk through the rest of your day, whatever is left of it, playing with what it feels like to look through these eyes that are but windows to this larger eye. And thank you so much for going with me on that journey.